Hi guys, today we are going to talk about the film Patterns, which was produced in the United States in 1956. It is a kind of boardroom drama, and it talks about Mr. Ramsey, who was the owner of a great corporation that he has inherited from his father, located in New York. And then in one of the companies that he has recently acquired, he got to see Mr. Staples, an employee, and he was very impressed with the performance of this employee. So he called this employee to work in the headquarters of the company in New York. However, even though at first Mr. Staples was clueless, he was called to work in the New York headquarters to be groomed to replace the vice president, Mr. Briggs. Mr. Briggs was an aging vice president, an aging executive who had worked with the father of Ramsey. And for this reason, Ramsey didn't want to dismiss Mr. Gibbs directly, but he humiliated him all the time until Mr. Gibbs left the company out of his own will, but he never did that. So he brought Mr. Staples to work in the company, and in a very obvious way, he was teaching all the service of vice president and right below Briggs' nose. And Briggs, he had some health problems. He had stomach problems and heart problems. However, Mr. Staples, he was very fond of Mr. Briggs since the beginning, and he realized that he was being groomed to become the vice president of the company, and he didn't want to get this position at the expense of Mr. Briggs' fall from grace. And when he realized what was happening, he tried to confront Mr. Ramsey, but it was useless. One day, during a meeting, as always, Mr. Ramsey humiliated Mr. Briggs in front of all other executives. However, after this confrontation, Mr. Briggs had a heart attack and died a short time later. And of course, Mr. Staples was devastated. He knew that Mr. Briggs passed away because all the stress he was suffering at work. And then, being so distressed and so sad with this, he decided to quit his job, Mr. Staples. So Mr. Staples met his wife on the street and told her that he would go to the company and quit his job, and told his wife to go home and pack everything. However, Mr. Staples' wife refused to do that and returned to the company together with Mr. Staples. Mr. Staples at first returned to the company to kill Mr. Ramsey, but his wife was there, and then it wasn't possible. It was an argument. So Mr. Staples told directly that he detested Mr. Ramsey and that he wanted to leave the company, that he found him a horrible man. Mr. Ramsey replied that he didn't care, and what was important was only his performance as an employee. And Mr. Staples continued and said that if he continued at the company, he would do everything to take Mr. Ramsey's place. But Mr. Ramsey wasn't intimidated, and he also offered the job of vice president of the company, a raise in the salary to Mr. Staples. Mr. Staples resisted. Then Mr. Ramsey said that he was being stupid, that Mr. Staples was being stupid, and that he would never have as a wonderful chance, as a wonderful professional chance as he was having at the moment, and that it would be the perfect opportunity for him to grow in life, and he would never have the same opportunity in another company. Mr. Staples said that he didn't care, and then Mr. Ramsey said that, okay, he was ruthless in business, but he had what it was necessary to make the company to be good, and that it was the only correct method to be a good businessman. Then Mr. Staples resisted, but then he said, okay, I can stay in the company, but I will not only be a vice president. And he implied that he wanted to be Mr. Staples' partner. And even more surprising, Mr. Staples insisted on it, and Mr. Ramsey agreed with that. Then Mr. Staples said that he would do everything to become president and take Mr. Ramsey's place. And he said, okay, I accept all your conditions. Then Mr. Staples replied, okay, let's write everything down in an agreement. If you write all my conditions in an agreement and accept everything, I will remain in the company as vice president. By the way, I want another clause. I want to punch you on the face whenever I think you deserve it. And Mr. Ramsey said, okay, accept this condition too, as long as I can punch you too. Then Mr. Staples said, all right. And then at the end of the film, we can see Mr. Staples leaving the company together with his wife late at night, and he told his wife that he would continue working in the company. Of course, that this ending is a little bit controversial, because if he was so disgusted by Mr. Biggs' death, he would continue in the company anyway. But on the other hand, would it be fair that he quit a great job, a well-paid job, just because the president was a horrible person? Why not staying and trying to put up with him, as Mr. Biggs was already dead anyway? So, although it's a definite ending, it's an open ending somehow, because it's left to the audiences the opportunity to conclude if it was a good decision for Mr. Staples to continue in the company or not, if he was supposed to quit and leave everything behind him, even though he would probably, actually most likely, earn a much lower salary. And that's the plot of the film. It's very nice. The film isn't outdated at all, because even though it's shown a big corporation and so on and so forth, it also shows a lot of human nature, and human nature never changes. And those kind of injustices within the corporate world and the life as a whole, they are very common until nowadays, because people can be very evil and very bad when they want that. So it's an interesting film. It's easy to understand. It lasts only 1 hour and 20 minutes. So it's a short film with a good pace. And I know that you're going to like this and understand it without difficulties. That's all for now, folks. See you.